What's going on YouTube? I'm back. I know it's been a while. Life's been getting kind of crazy right now. Me and my girl, we're trying to settle into our own place, which will hopefully be happening this weekend of Sneak Peek weekend. So to be sneak peek and trying to get videos out and getting into the new place, which shouldn't be too much of a juggle, but we are taking some time off of work to make sure that we can kind of settle in right. But it's a very important weekend because this set is really going to change up the meta. We've got a lot of support for a lot of decks, and one of them being my favorite, which you guys will see on the channel. I'm just going to be pumping out videos about this deck, is White Forest, specifically White Forest Azumina. And the reason why I really like this deck, because it does a lot. I think of it as a toolbox. You know, you don't have clear combos that you want to do. You just have either, you know, an ideal end board, but it kind of depends on your hand and what you see, and then where you get hand trapped. But it feels like Snake Eyes in a way now, where, you know, your normal summon Sylvie, if it gets negated, you have Field Spell, you have your LZ, you have, you know, other ways to kind of combo off and end on something better. And of course, some of the tech choices now have changed post ban list. So I just wanted to take the time in this video just to specifically talk about White Forest and White Forest Azumina, the build that I'm going to be trying out. I'm going to go through a couple iterations of what I think might be ideal builds for the deck. And of course, I'm always interested in hearing your guys' thoughts. But the first card I wanted to bring up, which is really like the card, is the new Diabell Star. Being able to count as a Sinful Spoils card, so she counts just like Queen does, as a search target for a lot of things. You can wanted search her because she is a Diabell Star. Being able to use her as fusion material and then special summon her from the graveyard by banishing the trap and spell, which we're getting in this new Alliance Insight set. She is able to recur herself, pay half your life points as cost, target a card, then pop it. Has been in testing just nutty, especially against Malice, knowing when their choke points are. If you're able to pop some link material off, and it makes it awkward for them because you know you're able to either deal with something else down the line and you kind of force them into this like tight spot or what has it. She does a lot. And then also too, being able to, if that card does get destroyed, you can special summon an illusion or spellcaster tuner synchro from your deck. So this means a couple things. We can either special summon out Silvera, our Book of Moon. So if we aren't able to go to the Diabell line of, you know, being able to pop a spell or a trap, or send rather, I don't know what it is, but send a spell or trap and then get Silvera out for free. We can also do that with Diabell Star. And the options are Silvera. There might be more, but it's Silvera or the new Poplar, which I'll post here. And this is going to be a nutty combo because if it's special summon, you can target 2 White Forest monsters and put them in the spell and trap zone, which does 2 things just from that effect alone. We're able to either summon out Snake Eyes Doom Dragon, which is follow-up for the next turn, guaranteed, or now that they count as spells and traps, we can now LZ, because a Synchro monster was summoned, LZ from graveyard back to hand, and then LZ can send one of the monsters counted as a spell or trap, and you can just redo everything all over again, especially because the Synchros like Silvera and Diabell and Rusia can shuffle themselves back from graveyard, targeting by using Sylvie or Rusia's effect, target, shuffle, and then do the combo all over again. So you can book your opponent's board multiple times. But once it's summoned, you can quick effect immediately after the effect resolves, synchro summon using your board. And it's a tuner, it's a level 4 tuner. So the option that they want you to go is the Snake Eyes Execute Dragon, which is a really good combo piece because you would do this with the new Diabell Star or the new Diabells or Queen Azumina, or the old Diabells, which, well, no, she's a 7, I think. Or Diabell, because the level 8 Synchro is just an illusion Synchro. So you got some options. You can also quick Synchro into like Psychic and Punisher, which is kind of like, I think, the cheese of the deck right now, because you'll see with this build, we used to play with Dragoon, and Dragoon was nice. You know, Rizal had a really difficult time dealing with it because you couldn't target it, you couldn't pop it, but there were other ways to get around that, you know, evenly, or if you negated something and then you get Talanced, which is very unlikely now that it's at 1, thank God, but it's still possible because Thrust is at 3, so it's a better boss monster, and we had to strive away from going the Dragoon route because the field spell locks you out of summoning darks out of the extra deck for the rest of this turn, that you use it for the search effect. If you don't use it and you just activate it and you don't search, you're not locked. But what this means is we gotta change up the extra deck in the sense that we have to do our Azamina plays first now, which isn't bad because you can set up your Sylvia for your just protection of anything. It really is a nib protection, because at that point they should have used other hand traps to kind of stop you, but you can set up your Omni Negate with hopefully Saint on board. That way, you know, that's their floodgate. They can't target anything, which it's going to hurt a lot of decks right now. It's not going to be the end-all be-all, but I always like to have Saint on board because it's a nice piece to just make things awkward and push your opponent into some real good choke points. But so yeah, Psychic and Punisher, but also Jura. Jura is nice because it is a board nuke for monsters or face-up spells and traps. So, and it tributes for cost. It tributes. So, which means the effect resolves in the graveyard. So even if it's negated, the effect will still go through. So that's another one that I think a lot of people aren't ready to deal with, because Jura, the Cursed Thunder Deity, is just generic. It's a generic 11. And this deck can make an 11 pretty easy. You get Rusia plus Diabellstar. This Diabellstar. She's a 7. Rusia is a 4 tuner. Yeah, and there you go. And then you just make Jura. In playtesting, there are some combos where you gotta kind of pick where you go. We still play Chaos Angel, but some end boards are pretty nice, just ending on like Jura and Chaos Angel made with Light and Dark. Because like, what do you do at that point? I like this deck because going first, it sets up some really unique boss monsters. And going second, it's really fun breaking into boards, especially because we play a lot of unique hand traps, and we have an interesting way to break boards. Not that it's necessarily the best going into boards, but just like I said in the beginning, it's like Snake Eyes where there's a lot you got to deal with. You know, if your normal summon gets negated, cool. I got other stuff in hand or pitch for cost that's gonna set itself. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I hope to show you guys in the coming videos some combos, my build, some tech choices that you can add in to make it more consistent, ratio, stuff like that. But so yeah, we'll talk about the field spell. So Witches of the White Forest is it's such a great card. I love it. So when it's activated, you just search a White Forest monster from deck to hand. That could be Sylvie, Rusia, Elzet, new Elzet, a Stellar, but we don't really play her right now, just because it's a heavier Azamina package, because we still have 3 Wanted, 3 Witch, and I think the Azamina cards do a lot. I could see in the future if we get Wanted limited or Witch limited and it's kind of harder to get that Azamina play, we might dial it back and then go in a Stellar for that extra name. And she's also a starter on her own, but if she gets negated, she does pitch for cost, But if it gets negated, it's like, that was my normal summon. So, but what's nice is that the field spells effect that you can target one of your White Forest monsters you control and treat it as a tuner this turn. Which kind of makes some things interesting, because if we're stuck in a situation with Elzette, new and old, we can maybe make a level 4 tuner, but you would just make Elzette's effect to fusion summon into like Moo and go from there. But just kind of a thought I had, because you do end up in some situations where it's like, I really wish I had a tuner on board because I need a tuner. The field spell solves this issue now. And then the first time each White Forest monster would be destroyed by battle, it's not. Cool. Didn't need to have that extra protection, but we got it. And then of course, if you use the effect of White Forest this turn to search, you can't summon dark monsters from the extra deck. So which means you can still get out your queens, your Diabell stars. You can get everything out of the main deck dark. You just not any darks from the extra deck, which is fine, because if we went Azamina first, got all our darks out, and then we just go White Forest combo. So I think the field spell is going to be a really nice addition. It's going to be a 3 of so far. I don't think you want to play 3 of and then terraforming, or 2 of and terraforming, because like if it gets negated by like Ash, well cool, you still got like the field spell. Whereas terraforming got negated by Ash, then it doesn't feel as good, because it's like, well, I still have the other effects, which would be nice. But yeah, this, I think there's a lot of potential for this deck. And to the people that aren't seeing this as like a definite tier 1 deck, you got another thing coming. Although it doesn't seem now crazy. One, the deck has a lot of starters now. We have a lot of ways to search stuff. And 2, the deck hasn't been in the spotlight, especially with Wanted and Diabell Star, because OSS got banned in our format. We still have full access to full Azamina. So it's a deck that I think the TCG is gonna have to cook with, because I've been kind of seeing what Japan has been playing with, and there are quite a few people getting some tops with the deck, but it's mostly White Forest. Not many people are doing the Azamina because they have one Wanted, one Witch. But I think we can show them kind of what this deck can do. And then the new Diabell's, the White Witch card, is the same thing. You summon it like a White Forest. It's treated as a White Forest card, which is important because it is a White Forest monster, but it's also a card. So in some scenarios where we can search a White Forest card, well, I guess, no, it's search a White Forest spell or trap. So yeah, I guess it would still be a monster, but maybe the verbiage down the road kind of gets even crazier. But you can pitch a spell or trap, special summon it, and then when it's special summoned, you can dump a... you can send one spell or trap from your hand or field to the graveyard, special summon this card. And then if it's special summoned, send one Sinful Spoils or Diabell card from your deck to the graveyard. And this is what I'm saying, where this deck has so much potential, because you can send a lot. You will probably be sending Curse of Diabell, because with this trap, if it's sent to the graveyard, you can add a Diabell spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which then you would search Phila Diabell, which just grabs you your other Diabell star, the new one. The what name did we get her as? Sin Adjudicator. I think she actually has a different name. But the new Diabell, that's how you kind of search it. And then the combo would be, is you would special the new Diabell star by banishing the trap and the spell that you just used in that combo to then special her, because with Diabell Star from grave or hand, you can special summon her by banishing a trap and spell from hand, field, or graveyard, I think. Hand or graveyard. So there's a lot going on, because you can dump a lot, you can search a lot. A lot of it's kind of open-ended. And I want to have some videos where I kind of just go over like card for card what you can search off of this card. These are all your options. This card, these are all your options. Because there is a lot you can search, and there's a lot of combos that you can put up some good boards with. But yeah, just being able to dump a Sinful Spoils card, you know, if you already had Diabellstar in hand, you can still dump the trap, or you could dump like another Wanted or Subversion, or just like another Sinful Spoils card, because I think in this coming format we're finally going to use Azumina Determination, which just shuffles back a Sinful Spoils card from graveyard or banishment into the deck. It's basically hollowed but on a trap card, and you're shuffling material back, which is cool because then you can just, with that one Wanted, because the combo would be is like you do your whole combo and then you banish Wanted to draw one. You get Determination with either Moo, or I guess Moo would be the only one that could search an Azumina card. But you would get Determination, set it, and then on your opponent's turn, shuffle back the Wanted in the banished, and then summon out Soul, and target send up cards. So it's extra interruption. But then you can also, if you had enough material, you could summon Moa, and then when you activate Diabellstar's effect to target pop, Moa would then pop and will target and then pop another 2. So you're popping 3. Not to mention if you had like Jura on field. That's what I'm saying. Like, this deck has a lot of potential, and I'll go over later like the card by card. But I just wanted to kind of give a brief overview because I know this weekend is sneak peek. The ratios I'll post later tonight or tomorrow morning, just kind of depends on the schedule. But yeah, so I guess just real quick, going into this weekend, because I know by the time this goes up, it'll be you guys searching for cards and stuff. 3 field spell, 1 Diabellstar, 1 Diabells, and then 1 new spell and trap, which are 2 commons. So the only ones that are going to be hard to get is the field spell, because they're ultras. Not too difficult, but it's a 3 of, and then the Diabells or Diabellze is a 1 of, and then the new Diabellstar is a 1 of. And then Jura is a 1 of, which I think he was an ultra or a secret. I know the Execute Dragon is an ultra, and then the new Poplar is a super. So again, this deck is GOAT because it's really cheap to pick up and play. The only thing that gets expensive is like the hand traps, but everything's been printed into Oblivion to where now it's all really cheap. So another reason to pick up this, well, I guess LZ has been skyrocketing to the moon with buyouts, and she's like, I think like a $45 secret, but that's like the most expensive card in the deck. The rest is pretty easy and cheap to pick up, especially with like Witches and Wanteds. There's so many versions. The spells and traps are all supers and commons. But yeah, I just wanted to get this video out to kind of talk briefly about my excitement now that Ally is at our doorstep. And this channel, for quite a while, we'll be focusing on White Forest, but there will be other decks I'm excited to play in this coming format after this weekend, like Exodia, Yugi's deck with the Shining Sarcophagus build, which is kind of crazy what that deck can do. I've been playtesting it against meta, and it really makes things awkward and a lot of fun. And the new Dark Magician Girl is just like Witch. You pitch a card, special it, can't interact with that, it's not an activated effect, and then you can grab Shining Sarcophagus, which if that gets negated, then you can just normal summon Gadget and still get Shining Sarcophagus, which is another deck that won't be touched because it's not doing anything crazy. So, and not a lot of people know kind of what your strategy is, which I think are the 2 advantages of decks like these. Of your opponent doesn't know what you're doing, excuse me, they don't know what you're doing, so they don't know your endgame. So if they don't know what you're doing and they don't know how to stop you or interact with you, and you get to a point where like, okay, now that I have Saint and Sylvia on board, anything you do here is kind of know you're not gonna do much because I protected myself. You let me get too far, kind of thing. But they also don't know your follow-up, your graveyard effects. You know what you got cooking there, what you're waiting for, and yeah, the deck's a lot of fun. I don't know if you can tell, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. But yeah, what deck are you guys gonna be playing this weekend? Going into Sneak Peek, because are you gonna try to pick up the cards there? Or are you gonna go in with stun? What are you guys gonna be playing? Let me know in the comments below, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.